If you want to know what's going on in Rockingham County government, check out Rockingham County 411. If you're interested in county governmental programs, projects, and services, don't miss Rockingham County 411. Public Information Officer Mabel Scott will share important, crucial news you can use with Rockingham County 411.
Rockingham County 411, you're in a good place. I'm Mabel Scott, your Public Information Officer for Rockingham County Government, and we have some important information from our Rockingham County Opioid Safety Coordinator, Jeff Pruitt. Thank you for coming back, Jeff.
Thanks for having me. Glad we finally got to do this.
Yes, medications. Why do we need to clean out our medicine cabinets?
Well, we should look at that a couple of times a year, but the big thing we try to do is get folks to look at it in the spring.
Okay.
When we're doing our house cleaning, doing our transition from winter to spring is to go through the medications and really look at what we have, because these medications, especially prescription medications, is really what we're looking at here. And we want to get rid of what we're not using, what may be old, and we want to monitor what we're doing, make sure we're putting stuff up and getting it out of sight, out of mind of those around us also. We want to keep our house safe. It is our castle. And we want to make sure that we're not doing any harm to ourselves, because one of the things that we want to really try to prevent, and this is something that, we got to go back to the beginning of this from a few years back and get people to relook at, is we want to prevent accidental overdoses from prescription medication.
Yes.
Also. It still happens. We're human. We make mistakes. Pill bottles a lot of times look alike. So we want to make sure that we're not mixing up medications and accidentally doing harm to ourselves.
Is it safe to keep or hoard medications?
Well, hoard is a harsh word, I know, but it is a word that's out there.
Stash back.
People do still do this, and especially now with insurance, medication, the expense of medications, et cetera. They think that we can hold on to these medications and use them forever. Everything has a shelf life.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you're getting rid of the old stuff, and it can be dangerous. Or it can have absolutely no effect whatsoever. And I don't want to say that and make people think, well, it's okay, because it's not. But you want to make sure that you're talking to your physician, you're talking to your pharmacist, and that and ask the right questions. How long do these medications can they absolutely remain on the shelf? If you get an antibiotic, how many times do you see folks not finish taking their antibiotic and then they'll leave it on the shelf and it stays there? Well, it does have a shelf life. And for these more potent medications, or benzodiazepines, or pain medications, and other things like that, we want to make sure that we are taking them like we're supposed to, refilling them like we're supposed to. And if you've had something on the shelf for a while, you really want to get rid of it. So we've got ways of doing that too.
Why spring?
Well, we're transitioning from winter into spring and warmer weather and things like that. And people like to open the windows, get their house cleaned out, get things. This is really an ideal time.
And you're throwing away a lot of stuff anyway.
Right. We just had our landfill just had our week last.
Big free week.
Big free week.
Yes.
Now, we do not want to put our prescription medications into our landfill. Let's put that out there. We don't want to put it down, flush our stuff down the sink or put it in our landfill, because there is potential dangers to that. So there are safe ways that we get rid of our medications now. And if it's okay, I'll just transition into that right now, because as we've talked about before, we have our medication drop boxes, and they're in our police departments, sheriff's department. And just to make this short, the only police department that doesn't have a drop box is Mayodan. Now, we're not going to beat up Mayodan. They just don't have the room for a drop box. But Stoneville and Madison does have one. Check with your pharmacy. Some of the independent pharmacies also have these medication drop boxes. And what you do is you take your medication in there. Now look, folks, prescription medications, that's what we're looking for. A lot of the over-the-counter medications, your vitamins and things like that you've had a while and you want to get rid of, it's okay to just throw some of that stuff away. Okay, recycle your bottles though. Think about that for a minute. Recycle your bottles and go ahead and throw those things away properly. And same thing with your prescription medications. Recycle your bottles. Put your prescription meds in a Ziploc bag and take those and drop them off in one of the drop boxes. I want you to think about, you take your prescription med bottle, if you don't mark off your information is there. And that really loads up that drop box in a hurry too. And if you go check, if you're around one of your police departments and you're using it, kind of look down in there. These things are full, and they're full a lot. Police departments are doing an excellent job with this, and I do appreciate them. But put them in a Ziploc bag, something like that, and drop them in there. And then they take them off and incinerate them and get rid of them, so they're gone. They don't hit the streets.
To make it specific, the medications we're looking for are,
Opioids, painkillers,
yes.
benzodiazepines, which are mental health drugs. Anything else that's really prescription that may be kind of a potent medication you want out there.
The super strong
Right,
stuff.
and you want to play it safe, and if it's a prescription medication, probably the best thing to do is just go ahead and put it in the drop box. Your over-the-counter stuff, you can dispose of it in other ways.
Like the vitamins and
Things like that. You can get rid of those.
And the bottles you just mentioned too.
You want to recycle those.
Okay.
I mean, if you really want to look at something, look at Doctors Without Borders. They're always looking for stuff like that too, because overseas and things like that, they need things like that. So if you really want to look at something and really want to help folks out, that's a way to do it too.
How do we keep our medications safe and out of the wrong hands of our little toddlers and kids?
We want to make sure that they're up and they're in a safe place, in cabinets, lock boxes if you could possibly do that. You can purchase a medication lock box for relatively cheap. Some of the, you can pick some of these up at some events and just look around. Sometimes you have some events like Insight and folks like that to do things. Sometimes the health department may have them. There is some expense to that, but you can pick them up at any pharmacy, Walmart, any place like that, and you can actually lock them up combination. But we definitely don't want them in our windowsills, sitting on our cabinets, sitting on the back of our sinks, and places like that where people can see them, where little ones can get their hands on. I've got grandkids.
In the kitchen.
Right. I've got grandkids too, so I have to be mindful of where our stuff is sitting and make sure that we keep it up and remind them. Talk to them about it. That these are things that you don't mess with.
Yes, and the pretty colors that will attract them. You know how they are. They want to touch everything.
Right. We want to make sure that they know that these are things that they do not mess with. If you do, leave something sitting around, you just want them to know that these are things they do not mess with. Show it to them that this is something you don't mess with, and this is why. Educate them at a young age. Educate them at a young age.
Now here's one. Never give anyone your medications or take anyone else's medications. You know how everybody thinks that they are a physician.
Well, we try to take care of each other. We do it in our own family. We do it with friends of ours. Somebody could say, I really overdid it. My back's hurting, or I'm having backaches.
I'll take some of these.
Yeah, well, my doctor gave me this for the very same. Do not do that, because you don't know how someone's going to react to it. Again, you should be talking with your physician about any issues that you have. People don't give anybody any medications, because if something happens to that individual, they accidentally overdose or have some kind of reaction to that medication. If they found out that you gave it to them, who's going to be knocking on your door? You want to take care of yourself, and you're doing it completely innocent. Don't get yourself in that situation. And it can very easily happen. And we do things to try to help folks out, but this is one you don't do.
Yes. Anything else you want to emphasize?
Well, the emphasis again on what do we do with needles. Now, I have to give myself a couple of injections, a week, and so I do have needles. There's things to do. You can pick up the sharps containers. There is a little bit of expense to this. There are various sizes to this. I have a few of these that I would be glad to hand off to someone if they need something like that. So churches, civic organizations, talk to me about this, because hey, we can start getting out and talking a little bit more now, right? I can do presentations. I can sit down and informally talk to you about the dangers of all this stuff and things that you should be doing. We need to be reminded again. Our overdoses are up. Our deaths are up during this COVID time because people have been at home.
It's been a stressful time.
It's been a very stressful time, so stress levels are up. Things are happening. Yes, the illicit drugs are out there. We can talk more about those at another time if you want to. We got to be careful with those. And so, if you can't get to the police departments or things like that, there are packets that you can get. These packets, that's an individual packet. Some pharmacies give these out if you ask for them. Some just put them in the box and with it. And what you do is you put this in the bottle. If you got a bottle of unused medication, put it in there, put some water in it, shake it up, it dissolves the medication, you can throw the whole thing away. Okay? There's no digging anything out. It won't be harmful to anybody else. It gets rid of the medication. These are bigger. These are for multiple bottles that you can dump in there and do it. Now, there is a little bit of expense to this. I have been giving these out to police and sheriff's departments so they can give them out when they go out into the public. I have a few of them left. But, if there's folks that need this, and again, I'd like to emphasize on the churches and civic organizations because they're going out touching a lot of folks too, that how we can get these to folks, how they can get these to get them out and give them to folks too, because this is it's still an important message. We got our crisis and educational brochures that are out there. Churches, again, civic organizations and churches, we've given a lot of these out. In doctors' offices, libraries, in our towns have these. But if you're interested, we still have some of them that we can give out so people can pass them out. Great information on what resources are available and the education behind this. And again, back to the needles. If you say, well, I can't, I don't have the means to get these, again, you've got, we cover this up, you've got coffee containers, bleach containers, laundry detergent containers.
Just
you
put
can
them in
drop them
there.
in there, put the top on it, tape them up real good, and throw them in the garbage can. Because that's the only thing we've got to do with needles right now. It takes me a little while to fill one of these up at a couple of injections a month, or a week rather. But you know what? There's a lot of folks out there that have to give themselves injections. We want to make sure that these needles are destroyed and not getting into the wrong hands. The other thing, if you do have pain medications in your house, and there's lots of folks out there for whatever reason that need these things and are taking these things. Narcan is a reversal drug for an overdose. Now, we hear a lot about this on TV, and we hear a lot about it when we're talking about the heroin and fentanyl problem. I don't want you to get stuck in your head that that's all it's for. This is for painkillers. We are human. Sometimes, and God forbid it ever happens, but if there's an accidental overdose in your house, this is not a bad thing to have. It's nasal. You just squirt it up the nose. If you have to do rescue breathing and know how to do it, that's fine. But what this does is it reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. So if you got these medications in your house, this is not bad to have. Talk to your pharmacist about it. Talk to your physician about it. All pharmacies carry it. Insurance does pick it up with copay. If you don't have it, then there is some expense to that. But talk to your pharmacy, talk to your doctor, and and they can help you get this also. But again, these comes in a box of 2 if you need it. But always, 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 if anything like that, before you do anything, you dial 911. You get the folks out there that can really help you out, and they have this on their trucks also. But if you need it, it's not a bad idea to have this in the house.
Okay, so you have shared, as usual, some excellent information that we can all use in our homes. How can people get in contact with you? Because they may want to invite you to do a presentation at one of their local groups or organizations or clubs or fraternities, sororities, or churches or synagogues.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of that pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We've been doing some stuff virtually, which is more difficult to do. I mean, I was on a virtual summit with the state for the past 3 days, and things were in it. They did a great job, by the way, but there were 800 people on that thing. So, a lot of great information that's come out from the state that I'd love to be able to get out and share. 336-932-5645 is my number. Get in touch with me. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I'll get right back with you just as quick as I possibly can. And if you want to come out and just have a presentation, I can do that. If you just want to have an informal conversation with a group of people about this, sometimes I found out, and definitely during COVID, I found out that that's really an excellent way to talk about this. Just sit down and do what you and I are doing right now. It doesn't have to be a fancy presentation, but just talk about our issue in the community and what everybody can help do about it.
And all of this is free.
Yeah, it's all free.
All right.
Absolutely.
Our Rockingham County Opioid Safety Coordinator, Jeff Pruitt, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you
You
for
gotta
having me.
keep trying to save lives and keep everybody safe and sound.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rockingham County, you're in a good place.